Hey everyone, let's take a look at ACT Review Packet 1, Operations and Basics. These are the first perform questions, and then we'll move on to the on your own problems. 17. Artie owns 2 dogs. Each day, one dog eats 1.5 scoops of dog food, and the other dog eats 2 3/4 scoops. The bag contains 340 scoops. Well, first I want to figure out how many scoops per day the total number of dogs eat. And to do that, I'm going to turn these into improper fractions with a common denominator. This would be 3/2 or 6/4 plus 11/4 is 17/4. So they eat 4 1/4 cups per day, and I'm wondering how often that goes into 340. And I computed that this would go in 80 times, which is why choice A is the answer. 18. A particular asteroid moves through space at a speed of 55,000 miles an hour. How many hours will it take to travel a distance of 4.62 times 10 to the 5th miles? Well, this is a problem that, of course, uses scientific notation. It also uses distance equals rate times time. We have the rate as 55,000 miles per hour, which I will write in scientific notation. And we have 4.62 times 10 to the 5th miles. 55 times 10 to the 4th. So when we do this division, I ended up with 8.4, or 4.62 over 5.5 times 10 to the 1st. That's why G is my answer here. G for number 18. 19. What is the value of absolute 5 minus 2x minus 13 over negative x? Well, minus 13 when x equals 3. So we've got absolute 5, 2 times 3, minus 13 over negative 3. This is 5 minus 6, which is the absolute value of negative 1. Absolute value of negative 1 is 1. We've got negative 12 on top, negative 3 on the bottom, and I get 4, and that's choice D. D for 19. 20. 20 says the measure of the angles of a triangle are in a ratio of 2 to 3 to 7. So we know that 2x plus 3x plus 7x would equal 180. That's 12x equals 180. So we know that x equals 15. And if x equals 15, we're looking for which angle? The largest angle, which was 7x. So 7 times 15 is 105 degrees, and that's choice K. K for number 20. You may think we're moving at a brisk pace, but this is in fact the 1 minute per problem pace that you need to keep up for the ACT in order to complete all questions in 60 minutes. Okay, now the on your own section. Number 1, participants of a certain conference, a third are anthropologists, a third of the number of attendants, plus half are biologists. Half of the attendants are biologists, and then there are also 12 chemists. There are a total of what? I don't know the total. Well, let's see now. We know that 1/3 are 1/3 are anthropologists and 1/2 are biologists. If I make a common denominator, 6, I have 2/6 plus 3/6 or 5/6 of the people there are either anthropologists or biologists, which means that there's 1/6 of all the people there that represent the 12 chemists. Multiply both sides by 6, and we get x equals 72 chemists. That corresponds to choice D. D for number 1. 2. 2 says, which of the following expressions will produce an odd number for any integer a? Well, I like for these problems choosing values for a that are both even and odd and running through the choices. So, for example, E says a squared. Well, I get 16 here. That's not odd, so I can move on. F says a squared plus 1. Well, now I have 17 here, which is good, but I have 26 here, which is bad. G says, oh, I'm sorry, that was F and G. So this is H. H says 2a squared plus 1. All right, 16 times 2 is 32 plus 1 is 33. And 5 squared is 25 times 2 is 50 plus 1 is 51. Hosanna, look, they're both odd. So choice H is my answer for number 2. Number 3. 3 is probably the toughest problem in this packet. It's certainly non-intuitive. It says, how many different integer values n satisfy the inequality? 1 over 11, 3 over n, and 1 over 9. And you might be thinking that, well, it's just 10 is the only thing that's missing there. But I can't make that determination unless I have common numerators. So here's this 3 here, and so I'm going to need to multiply by 3 over 3 and 3 over 3. And now I'm looking at 1 over 33, 3 over n, 3 over 33, 3 over n, and 3 over 27. So it looks like n can be 28, 29, 30, 31, or 32. There are 5 different choices of integer that we could have here, and that's choice A. 4. 4 says 60 is written in the product of prime factors. What are those numbers? Well, 60 is 6 times 10. Those aren't prime, so this is 2 times 3 times 2 times 5. So I'm looking at 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Oh, and the sum of these numbers, 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5 is 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12, and that's choice F. 5. The ratio of men to women in first-year college experience committee, the university, is 5 to 3. 5 men to 3 women. Okay. There are a total of 24 people on the committee. So 5x plus 3x equals 24. 8x equals 24. X equals 3. And women were 3x. So 3 times 3. There are 9 women on the committee. And that's choice D. D for number 5. Let's take a look at 6. Ernesto is shopping. At a store that's having a clearance sale, everything in the store is 25% off. The shirt was originally $22, and he got 25% off. That meant that he actually paid 75% of that $22. I mean, I guess you could do 22 minus 22 times 0.25. You could even factor a 22 out, leaving 1 minus 0.25. But that's going to be 22 times 0.75, and I just assume start there. Okay, so he's paying 75% of that cost of that shirt. Oh, but then we have to add 6% of that amount of money as sales tax and add it on to the cost of the shirt. And again, we could do he pays for the shirt, and then he pays 6% of the price of that sale shirt. But I notice I can factor a 22 times 0.75 out, leaving us with 1.06. So 22 times 0.75 times 1.06, or cost of the shirt plus sales tax, is going to be, I calculated, $17.49. And that's choice J. J for number 6. 7. 7 says 350 degree oven can cook approximately 3 pounds of turkey per hour. 350 degrees, 3 pounds per hour. A 450 degree oven can cook 4.5 pounds per hour. In 10 minutes, how many more ounces, not pounds, ounces of turkey can cook in the 450 than 350? All right. So first thing is that there's a difference of 1.5 pounds per hour. And we need to do some unit conversion here. There are 16 ounces in 1 pound, so we can get rid of pounds. And they don't want hours, they want minutes. There's 60 minutes in 1 hour, and so hours will cancel. And so we're going to do 1.5 times 16 divided by 60, and I end up with 4. So let's see. Why didn't that make sense to me just then? Oh, I forgot to multiply by 10 minutes. There we go. Times 10. So that cancels, and that cancels, and that cancels, leaving me 4. And 4 is choice A. 8. An aquarium contains dolphins, sharks, and whales. Twice as many dolphins as whales. Okay. Dolphins equals 2 times the number of whales. And 8 fewer sharks. So if I add 8 to the number of sharks, I get then dolphins and whales combined. X plus D. Well, I know D is 2x. So I'm going to have S plus 8 equals x plus 2x. So S is 3x minus 8. That's the number of sharks in terms of the number of whales. And that's choice G. I find that language I have to pay very close attention to when I read something in English and translate it into math in order to translate it properly. Please be careful about that. 9. 5x plus 3 equals negative 17. We want to solve for x. I get 5x equals negative 20, or x equals negative 4. And that's choice C. 10. 10 says negative 2 minus 4x is less than or equal to negative 6x. If I add 4x to both sides, I get negative 2 is less than or equal to negative 2x. And when I divide both sides by negative 2, remember, negative divided by negative is not just positive, and over here, not just x. But because I divided or multiplied by a negative, this inequality symbol needs to flip directions, needs to change directions. And so I'm looking for x is less than or equal to 1, and that's choice K. We could always do this problem a different way to see. For example, if we started off with negative 2 minus 4x less than or equal to negative 6x and added 2 to both sides, negative 4x less than or equal to negative 6x plus 2, and then added 6x to both sides, we'd have positive 2x less than or equal to 2. And when we divided both sides by 2, we would see that x is less than or equal to 1. See, I have to change the direction of that inequality, or else this answer would have been wrong. All right, what's next? 11. What's the length of the unit side BC in the diagram below? Well, since BC is a horizontal line, I can just take the furthest x value and subtract the nearest x value to get a length of 6, which is choice C. 12. In the diagram shown, line T crosses parallel lines N and M. What's the degree measure of x? Well, since these lines are parallel, cut by a transversal, and this is 40, we know that this is 40 because those are corresponding angles, and corresponding angles are congruent when parallel lines are cut by a transversal. And here's x. And what we know about x and 40 is that they make a linear pair. They're supplementary. X plus 40 should add up to 180. So if I subtract 40 from both sides, I'll get that x equals 140 degrees, which is choice K. K for number 12. And 13, what's the mean of those numbers? Remember, for a mean, we're going to add those numbers up and divide by how many numbers there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, so we'll divide by 5. And when I did this, I ended up with 286, or choice B. B for number 13. 14. Let's take a look at 14. 14 says 20 small squares of paper are numbered 1 to 20. If Egan randomly selects one piece of paper, what's the probability that he'll select a multiple of 4? Well, if the papers go from 1 to 20, which of those numbers are multiples of 4? We'd have 4, we'd have 8, we'd have 12, 16, and 20. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes out of 20 choices. That's a 1 in 4 chance, which corresponds to choice K. 15. 15 has this table. What fraction of vehicles are not luxury vehicles? Well, I noticed that the total number of vehicles is 320, and the number of luxury vehicles is 35. So that gives us 285 not luxury out of 320 total. And this reduces to 57 over 64, which is choice D. D for number 15. 16. We've got fractions to add, and then we want to subtract the result of adding those fractions? Well, that means I want to make common denominators, and rather than just a common denominator here and another one here, I'm going to make everything in terms of twelfths. So this will be 6/12 plus 2/12 minus 1/12 plus 4/12. So that's 8 minus 5/12, which is 3/12, or 1/4. And that corresponds to, oh, what's the numerator of this fraction? 1. That's E. 17. What is the value of x that solves the proportion? 2 over 9 equals x over 15. I'm going to multiply both sides by 15 to get the x by itself. And I'm going to notice that 30 over 9, I can take a 3 out of both of those and get 10 over 3, which is 3 1/3, or choice C for number 17. Okay, let's take a look at 18 with Dr. Hassenpfeffer. Hassenpfeffer, it's German for pepper rabbit. Okay, but I think there's actually a cheese dish, cheese toast dish that is Hassenpfeffer, but peppered rabbit. Okay, so Dr. Hassenpfeffer, his physics midterm questions, he scores the test. For each correct, he gives 2 points for a correct answer. And for incorrect answer, he subtracts 2/3 of a point for every incorrect answer. And then there's unanswered questions. And we know that the total of unanswered plus correct plus incorrect could equal 60. And we know that she scored a 68. She scored a 68 but did not answer 2 questions. So she had 2 unanswered. And that means that C plus I equals 58 questions. And so we could say that I equals 58 minus C. And if I plug that in here, 2C minus 2/3 times 58 minus C, plus the points for the unanswered question, 0, for a total of 68 points. Okay, rather than distribute the fraction to each of these, I'm going to multiply everywhere by 3 to cancel out that denominator. So I'm going to have 3 times this, and 3 times this, and 3 times this, so that these can cancel. I don't have to worry about 3 times this, because this is going to distribute to both of those, and if I take care of these on the outside, no problem. So I've got 180 plus 24 is 204 equals 6C minus 116 plus 2C. That gives me 320 equals 8C. So C must be 40 correct. How many did she answer correctly? 40, and that's choice J for number 18. 19. 19 says the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit in Somerville in August satisfies the equation T minus 94 is less than or equal to 10. Well, we can think about this graphically. Here's the line y equals 10. And we're shifting our absolute value, 94, over. And we're looking to figure out where these boundaries are within 10 degrees of 94. So this would be 10 degrees lower. This would be 10 degrees above. And then they ask us to look at this list of values and pick out the one that's not within this 20-degree range. 10 degrees below, 10 degrees above. Well, I see that 82 isn't within 84 to 104, and so choice A is my answer for number 1920. 125% of a number, 1.25 of a number, is 470. Okay, so let's find what x is. That's 5/4 x equals 470. I multiply by 4/5. You could just use your calculator. X equals 94 times 4, 360, 376. And then I want half of that number, it says. What's half of that number? So I want half of 376, which will be 188, and that corresponds to choice G. G for number 20. Okay, we're 2/3 of the way done. Let's take a look at problem 21. '21 says 20% off Monday, then discounted another 25% off on Tuesday. So the cost of the object was X. We took 20% away, so that meant we paid 80% of that object's original price. So this was what we would have paid on Monday. But Tuesday rolls around, and we get an additional discount. We get to have 25% off of this price, which means we're paying only 75% of this price. So if I multiply 0.75 times 0.80, I end up with 0.6x. Now that meant I paid 60% of the original price, which meant I had a total of 40% off based on the Monday and Tuesday discounts. And so B would be my answer to 21. 22. If x equals -2, then 14 minus 3, -2 plus 3 equals what? Okay, so we've got 14 minus 3 times 1. We've got 14 minus 3. We've got 11, and choice G is that answer. 23. If paintbrushes cost $1.50 each, so 150 times the paintbrushes, and canvases cost 6 times that amount, that's 6 times 1.5 times the number of canvases. That would be 1.5p plus 9c. Oh, and that's choice C. It's good to read the question. 24. In the figure below, CD is parallel to AB. So we know we've got parallel lines cut by a transversal. This is 110 degrees, and they ask us about this angle here. Well, we know that these are corresponding angles, so they're congruent. We know that, as we said before in this packet, these two angles here, this one and this one, they're a linear pair, so 110 plus question mark should add up to 180 degrees, which means that our question mark angle is 70 degrees. And that corresponds to choice H. Choice H for number 24. How about 25? Well, for 25, we've got this number line with point F, G, H, J, and K on it. We're told that HJ and JK are congruent. We're told that HK is 18. So each of these must be 9. And we're told that G is the midpoint of FH. So we know these are congruent. And we're told that JK and HJ, JK and 8, no, I got that already. HK is 18, got that. FH, got that. Oh, and they tell us that this is 13, so this must also be 13. And they ask us for this length here, GJ, which is 13 plus 9, or 22. And that's choice C. This was in the picture, and I missed it because I was just reading the text carefully. Okay, last page. For number 26, problem says PQ is perpendicular to RS. Okay. PQ, RS, perpendicular. Point L is in the interior of PQS. PQS, so there's an L over here. And then which could be the measure of LQR? LQR. Well, this is LQR, and I know that this angle is 90, so I'm looking for something that's bigger than 90 degrees. And the only one I find is choice F. F for number 26. 27. Randy scored 150, 195, and 160 in 3 bowling games. What should she average on her next bowling game if she wants an average of 175 for the 4 games? So 150 plus 195 plus 160 plus, I don't know, divided by 4 games should equal 175. Well, if I multiply both sides by 4, and then subtract all 3 of these numbers, I should end up with 195. She needs to get 195 in her 4th game in order to have an overall average of 175. 28. A jar contains 8 red marbles, 14 blue marbles, and 11 yellow marbles, and 6 green marbles. So that's a total of 22, 28, 29, 39. 39 marbles total. What's the probability that it will be green? 6 over 39, because these 6 were green. And that reduces to 2 over 13, which is choice G. Okay, 29 and 30 deal with this table. Let's see what we can say about this table. It says, according to the data, how many trees did the scientist measure? Well, that's 300 plus 1,000 plus 600 plus 200 plus 100 plus 100. So I added up 300 plus 1,000 plus 600 plus 200 plus 100 plus 100. And I got 2,300, or choice C. And finally, number 30. What range of heights contains the median? Well, remember, the median would be halfway through our 2,300 trees. That would be 1,150. And let's count over. In this first section, we're using up 300 trees. In this next section, we've now used up 1,000 more trees. So between these first two sections, we've used up 1,300 trees. Well, we're past already the median of 1150. We passed that somewhere during this height range of 5 to 9 feet. So 5 to 9 feet is going to be my answer to number 30, and that corresponds with choice G. G for number 30. Well, I hope this packet was useful. We went a little slow. It took us 35 minutes to get through it. And remember, the pace should be about a minute a problem. But we've got time, and hopefully you'll build up speed and comfort with this basic math. Okay, have a great day, everyone.